guys, welcome back to the channel. So we are once again here today in my living room. As it turns out, I really like recording things here. It's kind of like cozy and fun, and I like that I can do things with the background. Not that my gaming videos don't have things in the background too, they certainly do. But speaking of things in the background, I did get asked a lot in my last video, or at least the Elder Scrolls Collection video, what this was. It's actually an old vintage crossbow, so I don't know, I just got a couple of questions about it, so I figured I'd go ahead and show that. But that's not why we are here today, as much as I love to talk about my old weaponry. Today, as I'm sure you can probably guess by the title, I'm actually doing a fantasy book haul. I've kind of done one in the past, it had some other stuff with it though, but given that this is a very fantasy-themed channel, and given that I like recording this sort of thing, and also given that you guys seem to enjoy this sort of thing, I thought we might try it out. I know a lot of you are already into a lot of fantasy books, you know I am, and if you're not, maybe this can introduce you to it, I don't know. But all of these books I actually got thrifted or secondhand, which I think is really cool too. We all know that I do love to be cheap when it comes to collecting stuff. That's how a successful collector does it. But yeah, I'm trying to mix up content a little bit, so definitely let me know if you want me to do more of this sort of thing. But let's go ahead and get into it. So first off, I know before that I've talked about this used bookstore slash game store that I have in my town that I absolutely love and spend too much money at. I think they've realized how into old fantasy books I am, and just fantasy books in general, especially considering I've wiped out their entire Drizzt series and their Warcraft series, and now on to others that you will see. But I think they realized this, so one day me and Ryder were looking around, just kind of generally browsing, not really trying to find anything, and we get ready to leave, so of course we go to the doors, and I notice right in front of the entrance they had set up this display filled with old fantasy books. I know they were targeting me. But they weren't just old used books, they were also very cheap. All of these were $1 or $2.99. How could I resist? Especially when the first thing me and Ryder notice are a bunch of old Tolkien books. I do already own The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, which actually there's a few books in this haul that I did already own, but I will explain myself, and it's really just as simple as I think old books are really, really cool. I don't know why I'm showing Return of the King first, that just so happened to be on the top of the pile, but these are actually from the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like this is from 78. And they're certainly like a little grubbed up, a little crusty, but these were $1. With some of the other books, I'm going to tell you what they're about. I don't think I need to do that with The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, but of course we do have Fellowship, we do have The Two Towers, and then you already kind of saw Return of the King, but we also have The Hobbit, which the spine of it kind of matches and the cover kind of matches, but it's actually a hardback and it's bright orange. I don't know why, and it also has been severely punctured, but I think this one was even older. It feels and smells older. Oh nope, 76 it looks like. It's a little older. Just like, look at those old musty pages. This was actually also, like in the front, it has like a little thing where it's property of some high school I've never heard of. I can only assume that's how it got punctured, some silly teenager. And I'll just go ahead and get the next two books that I already owned out of the way. Once again, I will explain. The next one is actually a Salvatore book. This is Streams of Silver, which is book 2 in the Icewind Dale trilogy, which is part of the Drizzt series, which, as you can probably tell, I quite enjoy. I've talked about it on the channel before. But the reason I got this whenever I do already own it is actually because I'm pretty sure this is the original cover. From the looks of it, this seems like it is from 1989. I'm not entirely sure. All it has is first printing labeled on it. No other printings. Maybe this is a first printing. That'd be cool. I'm not really sure how that all works, but I mean, I just adore old fantasy art, so sometimes you just see a pretty book with the old campy art on it and you have to. Like, look at Brunor. Amazing. But yes, I do believe this is the book where they set out to find Mithril Hall. Yes, I'll just go ahead and read the back. Brunor the dwarf, Wulfgar the barbarian, Regis the halfling, and Drizzt the dark elf fight monsters and magic on their way to Mithril Hall, centuries-old birthplace of Brunor and his dwarven ancestors. So yeah, it is the right book. The name kind of also gives it away, but you know. Then it continues, faced with racism, Drizzt contemplates returning to the lightless underworld city and murderous lifestyle he abandoned, Wulfgar begins to overcome his tribe's aversion for magic, and Regis runs from a deadly assassin who, allied with evil wizards, is bent on the companion's destruction. All of Brunor's dreams and the survival of his party hinge upon the actions of one brave young woman. It's a wonderful book. If you haven't read the Drizzt series before, you should. But moving on, the next book that I did get that was a duplicate. This one, not only did I get because it was an older edition of the book that I already had, but also it was $1. And it had $1 inside of it, like as a bookmark. So it was free. And that is, of course, The Sword of Shannara. I still haven't read this. It is on my list. I do have a little shelf behind me, and I was very tempted to get this because I do have some of the older books already, as I think I've shown you guys before. It's just, once again, it's just so pretty. Unfortunately, the spine on this one's like really wrecked, but it was free. And I'll go ahead and read the back of this one for you guys too. There's dust flying everywhere, how rude. My house is like 90% dust, I swear. I try to keep it clean, but God. Long ago, the wars of ancient evil had ruined the world and forced mankind to compete with many other races, gnomes, trolls, dwarves, and elves. But in peaceful Shady Vale, half-elven Shay Omsford, I can't even read. Why do I read so much when we all know I can't? Knew little of such troubles. Then came the giant forbidding Alanon, possessed of strange druidic powers, to reveal that the supposedly dead warlock lord was plotting to destroy the world. The sole weapon against the power of darkness was the Sword of Shannara, which could only be used by a true heir of Shannara. On Shay, last of the bloodline, rested the hope of all races. Soon a skullbearer, dread minion of evil, flew into the Vale, seeking to destroy Shay. To save the Vale, Shay flees, drawing the skullbearer after him. I have heard this is very much so like a Tolkien, I don't want to say mimic, but you can really say that about most fantasy. Like, even if you're not trying to, it all just comes back down to Lord of the Rings. It's happened to me without me trying. But yeah, I'm excited to read that eventually, though I'll definitely be reading the newer version I have. And then we'll just continue with Terry Brooks. This one, I also still, of course, haven't read, but I also think it's like the third, yes, this is book 3 in a series, but I simply got it because it is called Wizard at Large. Look at that. You guys wouldn't know this if you're not in my Discord server, I don't think. If you're not, you should join, by the way. It's a stupid place, but it's pretty fun. Anyway, I love wizards. I love wizard posting online. Old classical campy wizards, it just doesn't get better than that. And he's at large, like the madman. The back of this book too is a whole ass adventure on its own. It all began when the half-able wizard Quester Thews announced that finally he could restore the court scribe Abernathy to human form. It was his spell that had turned Abernathy into a Wheaton terrier, though with hands and able to talk. All went well until the wizard breathed the magic dust of his spell and suddenly sneezed. Then where Abernathy had stood, there was only a bottle containing a particularly evil imp. It had been in the collection of Mitchell and Ard Ree, former king of Landover, now exiled to Earth. Abernathy must now be a part of that collection. High Lord Ben Holiday set forth for Earth, taking his green but beautiful love Willow with him. Unfortunately, they were long in returning, and without the soil of Landover in which to root as a tree at times, Willow could not long survive. That left it up to Quester Thews to save them. Grimly he set out to seek help, knowing himself to be incompetent. And to make things worse, the imp had escaped and sought the help of the evil witch Nightshade, now back from exile in Fairy. Quester's only idea seemed impossible, but I just love that sort of shit, man. Like, oh, it just makes me happy. I need to find the first 2 books of this. But moving on to a book series I actually haven't read a whole lot about, but I actually got this because when I first started getting pretty into collecting fantasy books and trying to read more, at one of the local antique stores I found these 2 books, which are actually book 2 and book 3 in a series, but they were only like a quarter or 50 cents or so. They're pretty beat up, but I still thought they were neat. But I didn't have book 1 until, of course, my favorite bookstore. They got me. They only had this book too. I don't think they had 2 or 3, so I kind of just completed the collection so I can actually read the series someday. But this is Magician Apprentice by Raymond E. Feast? I don't know. Once again, astonishing cover art. I love old fantasy stuff. I'm gonna say that 50 times in this video. I think we can tell. But yes, the book of this says, "To the forest on the shore of the Kingdom of the Isles, the orphan called Pug came to study with the master magician Colgan. But though his courage won him a place at court and the heart of a lovely princess, he was ill at ease with the normal ways of wizardry. Yet Pug's strange sort of magic would one day change forever the fates of 2 worlds, for dark beings from another world had opened a rift in the fabric of space-time to begin again the age-old battle between the forces of order and chaos." So, don't know if it's any good, but I own it. I honestly, like, even if a fantasy series isn't super good, I'm still willing to read it because it's a learning experience, you know? I'd like to write someday. It'd be good to know what kind of counts as Not saying that this book is I don't know. If you've read it before, let me know. But yes, then the final 3 books that I got on that fateful day. Still have a couple more to show you, but they're actually from the Dragonlance series, which I was getting asked about because I've started a little Dragonlance shelf right here. I'm reading through Drizzt right now, and then I actually paused because I was waiting for a book that I'm about to show you to come in. So I'm actually reading The Fellowship right now, but I haven't gotten to Dragonlance yet. I'm really excited to, and I plan to soon. But whenever I see one of the Dragonlance books for cheap, I try to go ahead and pick it up. That's kind of how I got all the Drizzt series. These are actually from the Legends series, and they are by the original authors of Dragonlance, or at least the main ones. I'm pretty sure they're the creators, which is Margaret Weiss, I don't know, and Tracy Hickman. There are different authors actually in the Dragonlance series, but yes, we have Time of the Twins, War of the Twins, and Test of the Twins, which of course is a series, full trilogy. And I don't know if this is true, but I know that Richard Knack, the guy that writes Warcraft books every now and then, like he wrote War of the Ancients, he wrote Stormrage here, Wolfheart, which of course includes Illidan and Malfurion, who are twins. I have heard, I think, that this series inspired the creation of those characters, but I could be wrong. Don't come for me if I am. I've just heard it, so that kind of had me even more interested to read the series even before I found them in the store, which I was really happy about. So it may be a little bit before I get to these, because I'd like to start with the first Dragonlance book and kind of work my way through, but yeah, I'm excited to see if that does, I don't know, have any Illidan Malfurion vibes, because I love those 2 characters, as I think we know. Oh, I didn't even really read what these books were about. I think we can somewhat tell, but I'll go ahead and read the back of the first book. The War of the Lance has ended, the darkness has passed, or has it? One man, the powerful archmage Raistlin, intends that the darkness return. 2 people alone can stop him. One is Chrysania, a beautiful cleric of good, who is drawn to Raistlin as a moth is drawn to flame. Oh, well, we already have a cleric, like Tyrande a cleric. The other is his twin, Caramon, who must come to an understanding of himself before he can redeem his brother. We have a fallen brother and a good brother. Together with the irrepressible Kinder, Tasselhoff, these 3 take a perilous journey back in time to the days just before the Cataclysm. Probably not as related, but in the doomed city of Istar, poised on the brink of disaster, dark magic and darker ambition battle love and self-sacrifice in a quest to save not only the world, but more importantly, a soul. Very excited to read it. But now on to the 2 other books that I didn't find at that one bookstore, and this one I'm very excited about because we found it at Goodwill for $1, and it's an actual Dungeons & Dragons book. I got hair in my mouth. It is, of course, 4th edition, which we don't really play anymore, but we still like to collect books from the older editions. It's interesting. It's nice to, like, look through. This is Heroes of the Forgotten Kingdoms, create and play druids, paladins, rangers, and warlocks. So it's particularly Ryder that likes to look through these, so this is kind of more so his. I love the cover, though, because it has a drow being attacked by a giant rat. Gotta love giant rats. But yeah, finding that for $1, Very lucky.
Okay, so real quick, I'm editing this video right now. It's like a couple of days later, but I actually once again returned to my favorite bookstore and I found something really cool that I didn't even know existed. But that would be this Drizzt graphic novel. Like, I had no idea that was even a thing. This is the second one, which is for the book Exile, which is actually one of my favorite books in the series because it really kind of started off my love for it. The lighting is atrocious, I'm sorry, but like, I don't know, just, we all know not only do I really love fantasy, but I really love art, so something like this is really cool to find, especially because, I actually found it the day before I bought it, and I, was really excited about it, but I didn't get it, and I ended up going home and looking at it on eBay because I wanted to see how many there were, and I don't know if it was accurate, but the one I found that was listed for book 2 was like $60. I got this for $12, so I'd say that's a whole lot better, given I did see the first edition on eBay for like $9. I don't know, maybe there's just a couple of sellers that just want to go crazy on these for some reason, and then some are a little more reasonable. But yeah, I'm hoping I can get more of these pretty soon, but don't know that I can rely on ordering them online, but yeah, it's really cool.
And then on to the final book that actually just arrived today because I did have to order it online because I was specifically looking for it. But that is The Cleric Quintet Collector's Edition by, of course, R.A. Salvatore. Now, the reason I took a pause on the Drizzt series is because I had already heard that the characters from this, which I think is one of his original series, if not his original series, I could be mistaken, but I had already heard that they showed up in the Drizzt series, so like it was kind of a good idea to read this one, just so you kind of would understand those characters and what they'd been through. But I thought that they came in a little bit later than they actually did. They come in book 10, which I just finished not too long ago, and I had already been wanting to read this before those characters came in, so I went ahead and paused on the Drizzt series so I could order this and read through it, which is going to take me a while because, of course, this is 5 books in one. I just want to say, like, oh, the text is fairly small too. I feel like it's a little bit smaller than the Drizzt books I have, but yeah, that's gonna take me a little bit to get through. It is very chunky. But yeah, I just wanted to go through this before I continue on with the Drizzt series. So, go ahead and read the back for you guys. R.A. Salvatore's The Cleric Quintet tells the tale of the scholar priest Catterley, plucked from the halls of the Edificant library to fulfill a heroic quest across the land of Faerun. This one-volume collection includes all 5 of the original novels, complete and unabridged, with a new introduction by the author. So yeah, pretty excited to get to this, and the book itself is beautiful, and we all know how much I love an old book with old fantasy art on it. But yeah guys, that is all for this little fantasy book haul video. Do let me know once again if you did enjoy it, because I do like talking about books, so I'd be very happy to keep doing that on the channel every now and then. Do also let me know if you've read any of these that I haven't read, of course. I mean, or if I have read them, we can talk about them, you know, that's always fun. But yeah, I'd like to know if some of them were even any good or not, but I'll read them anyway. But yeah guys, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, maybe consider supporting my Ko-fi or Patreon if you want to help out the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!